Right, so here we are at the start of the Christmas cracker. I'll bring you down here through that gate and you'll queue up here waiting for your start. And if it's a morning like to morning work, it'll probably be a bit darker because we're starting at 7:30. I'm starting at 8. And I'm going to run through the course today. So unless you're at the very front, you can follow everybody on this bit, but you're running across this field and there we go. You're going to the left of the goalpost and there's a gap in between those trees. You go through it and turn right. When you get to that gap in the trees and you're turning right, you've got a couple of choices, and it doesn't really matter which way you go. You can either go straight on up the road or go around to the left. I think most people go around to the left, but it doesn't really matter. Either way, it goes through, and you can hear the roar of the river wharf to the left as it goes over one of the longest weirs in the country. It's just over there. You can see the weir just behind, and so some people come up those steps. Just follow this path all the way along. Road. Follow it all along, keeping the river to your left. Don't turn off until you get to a footbridge. So make sure you keep to as close to the river as possible at all times, so you come off and onto this footpath, a riverside path. So as we come to the end of that path, where it goes down into a little tiny path, we've got the footbridge on the left. We swing round and up onto the footbridge with the river wharf either side. Carry on, and we're dropping down into Wharf Meadows Park, and we're going across in that direction. So as we come out, we swing around and we go right. As we come to the end of the first field, go round to the right, keeping the skate park on your left, and up a gentle incline and round to the left, and then we're looking for the first right out of the park. So as we're coming up that little slope, evens out, and you're going to knock it out of the park. There you go, out of the park into a little tiny car park. Turn back on yourself. The old traditional gates to Farnley Hall are there, gate houses, and we go round to the left and up some very shallow steps. And at the top of the steps we're turning right, and we stay on this footpath for about half a mile or so as we leave Otley, and it's a steady climb all the way. So just as you come to the top of the rise, if you look over to the left, actually it seems more like a mile up, probably not half a mile. You can see over to the left there's a church. We're heading towards that, and just on this bend need to cross over, all clear, and there's a public footpath there which takes us up to the church across the fields. Here we go, little stile, and then the footpath follows across the fields. It's quite easy to follow. As you come up the hill on the second field, just before the church, there's a big tree sort of in the middle of the field. You need to go towards that because the exit to the field is over in the far corner by the house. When we get to this little rise, you can see the path going across to it. So don't go up to the church itself. That's Farnley Church. We're going to get out to the stile, climb that and turn right. So here we are at that stile. The one thing I like about all of our Otley races is the first mile or so is always uphill. Gets you warmed up. I was cold at the start, there was ice on the ground, hands were quite numb, and I'm sweating already. I have to start layering down now. I always remember being told in the early running career you should always dress for the second mile. Forget about the first one, you'll be cold and you think, oh, I should have put more layers on. By the time you get to the second mile, and especially on our Otley races, because it's uphill and everything starts to burn and hurt, and that's just in the first mile and you've still got loads to go. But what goes up must come down, and like most of our courses, certainly in this area, they're very undulating. The flatter ones tend to be the ones around sort of Harrogate, that sort of area. There aren't too many hills over that way, but a lot of people come to do our races from places like Cambridgeshire and Norfolk, Suffolk, because it's dead flat over there, and you come here and it's a real test. And just is filling in, because where the road bends right, there's also a road off to the left. We're taking that turn left and we're going downhill, yeah, for about half a mile towards the end of Lindley Wood Reservoir, and there's a fish farm down there. So quickly cross over and we're down this road. So as you come to the bottom of the hill, the road bends round to the left, and a nice old bridge that we go over, and that's coming down from Lindley Wood Reservoir, and it's quite full now, often it isn't, and there's a fish farm over to the right, and we carry on as the road bends round and starts going uphill again. And in a moment we'll be taking a footpath off to the left and uphill. Oh, I've never seen that stream there before. Been a lot of rain recently. So you come around, there's a footpath off to the left, ignore that one, keep going round to the right, because there's another footpath off to the left up here, and if you just go on a little bit more, there's a bit of a track, but as it clearly says, pedestrians right, and there's a little tiny ginnel here, and we follow that up, and it's an enclosed footpath, so I won't bother filming it. You go all the way up to the top to a field, so I'll see you there. So when you get to the end of the enclosed footpath, there's a gate to go through, and you follow up with the wall on your right hand side and go to the right of that big tree up the top, and then follow the edge of the field round. So as you follow that wall round, you come to a metal gate, and we're going through that metal gate. When you come through in the summer, it's full of ferns and nettles. They've all died back now. We've got a lovely view over to the Chevin. And the sun's out today, and it's absolutely glorious. What a day to be out. In contrast to yesterday, where it was absolutely tanking it down. So in about a mile and a half, I'm expecting a really boggy field, which should be fun to get across. But as we come around here, just take you to this bit, and then we're out of this field. Now there's a fantastic view from here, but no sitting and resting on the bench. You've got a long way to go yet. Just have a quick look around again, just to take in some of those stunning views, and then we're climbing over this little fence and turning left down the track, and we're on that track for probably about a quarter of a mile before we peel off just before a farm. So just before this farm here, we're peeling off onto the grass, and we're going over, keeping to the left of that post, and looking for the track at the other side of this bit. A little bit boggy today. In fact, there we can see where the grass is just a little bit flatter, and there's been a few people across. So that's it, that's where you need to be on this little line here. As we get to the end of that little path, you can see where it turns around to the right, and you can see a few vehicles have been along here, and then you stay on this footpath for a while, and about to, well, you just stay on this. It's really easy to follow. So at the end of that bit, come to a gate, and at the moment there's a little stream going through. I imagine it'll still be there in 2 weeks' time. It's not always here. When you get across it, you can either go round to the left as the vehicles do, or carry straight on. This is actually the footpath up here, and it takes you past some ruins on the right. So you're just basically staying on the only path in the area. Coming up to this bit, we've got the stile to cross, or actually, for those of you with dodgy knees like me, there's a gate to the side. Not the easiest ones to open. But you can open it. Sorry about the camera loss there. Needed both hands to do the gate. There we go. And we're across over these fields, still keeping in line, and shortly after these fields we drop down to the left to a road, but we have to cross a bit of water to get there. As you come across the fields, don't be tempted to go off to the left. That's not a footpath. We're crossing this little bit of water here and going through that broken wall. There we go, and continuing on. As you round the corner and get to a steep descent, though it looks clearer that way, I probably wouldn't recommend you go that way. Flip across to the right and you'll actually see some little tracks, and if you follow this track around the gorse bushes to the right, we've got a bit of water to cross this way, but we're actually going out to the road straight ahead, so it's easier to do it this way. And this bit isn't too wet today, and then there should be another bit just over here which is usually quite wet. Here we go, and there's no real easy way around it, but if you go to the right there's a few stones which you can step on and get across, and there we go, dry feet still. And then to this gate, and the catch is on this side. Close the gate behind you, it's a gated road because of livestock, and follow the road round. So as we come to the highest point of this road, there's Prospect Farm on the bend, and for those that did the Wharfdale Skyline Ultra, you came up there, and where we've just come from, it's the same ending for the last sort of 4 miles or so back to Otley. We used to have a different ending, but we changed it because it went on a main road and it wasn't as nice. Right, so Prospect Farm through this gate to the left hand side, which should be, there we go, catch down. Oh, in fact, there's no catch, just needs a heavy shoulder. There we go, and work around to the road for the moment, but we're not on the road all the way because the footpath does come off of it and go across the field, so it doesn't actually go up to the farm. So as we're coming up towards the farm, and the sort of road bends round to the right, and the farm, as the track goes up to the farm buildings, we've actually got to cut across the field here to that gap in the wall, and that's the public footpath. Let's just run across to that. It's a little bit uneven and boggy, this grass. And then when we go through this gate, go in a straight line. So you see where that tree is. We're going in a straight line parallel to the road, and we'll get to another gate. So we made it across the field. It wasn't as boggy as it usually is. The next one's normally the charm. Anyway, when we get here, just to note, if you try to come up the footpath, that gate's locked, so good luck with that. Please don't do it. Come through the proper way on the public footpath between the two trees. When you're out on the track, turn left and follow it down. And it's a bit muddy at the bottom, and you follow the footpath. Can't really see it, but it goes across the fields there in a straight line, and where you see that I don't know if you can see it, so there's the tower up there which we're going near in a minute, but straight on there's a bit that sticks out of the field, and we're going behind that, and there's a gate behind that that leads us into the woods, into Norwood Edge. Right, I've come across the muddy field. It wasn't actually as bad as it's been in previous years, despite all the rain we had in the last few days. It's best to keep, by the way, when you come across from the gate, I'd head across to the wall because it's easier to cross. There's a stream that goes down with a bit of a bank, and there's a pipe by the wall which is easier to cross. Anyway, we come along here to that little kink in the wall I was telling you about before, and as we go round it, you'll see just up ahead there's a gate which we will go through. Let's just get round there. I think part of the reason why it's not too boggy around here is because it's actually quite frosty in this area. It was quite cold overnight. I think it went down to about -2. Right, so here we go, we're going through here, and when we get out to the track just beyond, we turn right and go uphill, and we're not far off the first checkpoint now. So around here and to the right and uphill. So as you come up here, there's a slightly more major track joining you from the right. Just keep round to the left and keep going in the same direction. So at the end of that path we come to a main road and a small car park, and this is where the first checkpoint will be. For the longer courses it's not really a checkpoint, it's just a run through, because your next checkpoint's in 3 miles, but this is the turnaround point for the 12-mile race. So 12-mile race comes in here, turns around. If you don't want anything, just make sure the marshals have got your number and you're back down there, and the rest of you come out to the main road